So today we're going to talk about how to make LinkedIn work for us. Okay. Gunnar, he's on LinkedIn every day. So I'm like, okay, he's on LinkedIn every day. And so he knows a lot more than I do. And maybe is more than many of you. So I've been, oh, hey, Gunnar, what's up? I'm calling for you. I'm glad to know you're here. So you're closer than what you were before. Hi, Sheila. See, it's just, they say patience is a virtue, and that's true. So I'm much more patient than I used to be. I didn't used to have any patience. Okay.
Hey,
Hi. Hey, Gunnar, how are you today?
very good, very good.
Good, good. I was talking to them about you, okay? And since you're here in the flesh, I want to go ahead and introduce you. All right, my
Lovely, thank
friend
you.
here. Yes, I'm honored, truly. Gunnar Habitz, okay? He is a book architect and authority builder. Okay, so you know right there that we got a lot in common. Okay, we all about authority. Okay, and architecture. Okay, I love architecture. Okay, so Gunnar is an experienced book architect and course creator, MC. All right, and public speaker based in Sydney, Australia. Okay, with a prolific writing career spanning over 2 decades and has published more than 30 books and guides. And he specializes in helping solopreneurs and professionals package their expertise to build ultimate industry authority. Okay? So,
Wonderful.
yes, and Gunnar here is creator of the Healthy Habits, okay, a publication dedicated to mindful lifestyle practices and personal growth, okay? And
Yeah. See,
alongside his primary business, okay, newsletter, he has Busy Book Builder. His diverse portfolio includes Reinvent Your Life, okay, which he has successfully crafted into an educational course. Okay, his upcoming audio project, Reinvent Down Under. Okay, you are multitasking, faceted, and multidimensional. I don't know where you find the time. Do you also have a full-time job on top of that?
yes, actually, yes.
Really? You had to think about it there for a minute. So, talk to our audience today about what brought about your leadership journey. What brought you to Substack?
Yeah, happy to do. And thank you very much, Margaret, for inviting me to your call. I really appreciate all the discussion that we had over the last year and a bit. It's nice to see that two regions very, very far from each other can bring people together. So
Absolutely.
I nearly one day boarded a ship to in the direction of Alaska. I love cruise ships. And I also remember one thing 10 years ago, I arrived on a cruise ship in Sydney. And Sydney, as well as Auckland in New Zealand, are those cities where you come in by cruise ship directly into the center. So not very far away like in most others. So then you see the city. And then when I saw that, I realized that might be a place to consider coming more often. And here I am. That was 10 years beforehand. So thank you for this kind introduction, which captures a couple of points. Yes, I do work full time and I do the Substack and writing and so on. My role in my full time is actually in email marketing, and that means one of the professional platforms that companies are using for email marketing CRM software, which is Active Campaign. But I don't talk about this today. But the mindset of email list building I have for maybe 9 years nearly since I became a student of Amy Porterfield, who even beforehand has done the marketing for Tony Robbins and then created her own business from that. So that's how that started. But there's also another funny thing I need to show you. So pick up that. When you say about writing, so I started writing because I had a bad result in my high school diploma at that time, or HSC as they called it in Australia, or Matura in Switzerland. The time when you finish the school before you can go to university, and I had a bad day. And the teacher said, Gunnar, I know what you can do. I know your view of writing. I bet one day you will write a book. So plant it here. Then later I studied computer science in Germany, and I worked with a professor who published, I think, overall 14, 15 books with other authors, and I helped him research, which back then means copying pages of books. There was not too much of internet search or going into library with microfiches and so on, just to do that part. And he said, Gunnar, you will never have an academic career. I said, well, why that? He said, well, I see what you write, and you write too, in English, I would say flowery or bloomy, too much expressing nicely. And he said, Gunnar, it's just not dry enough. And I said, okay, then I will write, just not academic. So that's fine. And then never further looked into an academic career. And what I learned from there, from another professor, he had a book about technical computer science. Think about building the controls for an elevator. You know, when you click, elevator goes closed, and somebody clicks again, then it doesn't go, all this kind of thing. To do it in theory, I really loved that. But the book had about maybe hundreds of mistakes. And then I learned there is something in it to correct books. And from correcting books in the travel industry, because I've been a tour guide, I came into writing travel books, like something like this, highly colorful. This actually is something that you can fold, you can walk along, is it here? And I created the concept of that one sitting in a cafe, and I simply love it. It was in Switzerland, but it was Czech Republic. And I wrote maybe 20 plus travel books, maybe 25, something like this over the years. It was when publishers said, hey, thank you for correcting our book, but we will change the concept from 32 pages to 96 pages. Do you want to rewrite the whole book? Of course I want. But writing in that way means for travel industry, you get a contract, half of the money while starting, half of the money when you submit it. And that is not based by how many they sell, but rather about it's a piece of labor. So I knew when I would write a book like that one, it would be, I think it was 4,000 US dollars. And when I got my second part after sending it in, maybe a half year later, the book came out when I've been already in something else. So it's a completely different way compared to the way of writing a novel or trying to find publishers or even self-publish. But it taught me one thing, and that's not unimportant. If you look at a page like this one, ignore that it's German. You see that every line is ending at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If I would I'd submit the text in Microsoft Word. So if I would do it without considering the volume and the density, then I would have very often 5 lines too much or not enough. And then the editor would always say, good, I need more here, and that's too much. Can you reduce it? So I learned one thing, writing on format. So that is a completely different mindset, and working with editors, so that if the editor has not much work and has a smooth experience, the editor, which in a publisher is an important role, will promote me internally. So it's really think about who has what to do, and then it gets faster. Of course, key question, would I always submit on time? No, because also working full time, but that book I submitted a month too early. It was very funny. Yeah, so that's how I came to book writing, and therefore I thought that if I want to help others, I'm not a book writing coach. English is not my first language, as you hear, my third. And my view is rather to say, when the book author, take it in the building, the book author is maybe the builder. The builder needs some people who help. Think about an editor, cover designer, but they need to be one who has a kind of overseeing function. That is a book architect. So I help currently four clients that they create their books. I'm not their editor. I don't do that. I don't teach them on creative writing, but I design the journey because the book is more than just a book. It is part of something bigger. Yeah, and that's what I do as book architect.
Well, that's amazing because I used to work for the Army Corps of Engineers, and I used to work with architects and engineers. So that's why we get along. That's why we get along so well. Okay, we're both
Yeah,
left brain thinkers. Okay.
yeah.
Yes,
Well, left thinkers in that sense, combining on the right hand side of the brain, because it wouldn't work without having a proper empathy with others and try to put ourselves in the mind of other authors what they would like to achieve and who they would like to attract from that. We cannot only come from our point of view.
that's true. That's true. We know that in leadership. So it's give and take, and meeting people where they are, not where we want them to be. Okay. Together, we will get there. Okay. Step by step. So let's talk about LinkedIn because I have been on LinkedIn for my entire civilian career, 39 years. And during that time, I have accumulated over 14,000 followers. Okay. It, thank you very much. And that came from being intentional. Okay. So um, now being retired, I was just focusing on my profile page. But when you and I was talking on Zoom, you pointed out some deficiencies in my business page, which I have my picture, you couldn't even see my face. So I fixed that first, okay? I just pulled it down and then I made some additional changes and it looks better. It's not 100%, okay? But I took your advice just from that meeting alone. It has increased my visibility at least 10%, 10 to 15%. Now,
Thank
talk
you.
to us. Yeah, and you are on LinkedIn every day posting, okay? Because I saw you a couple of weeks ago. You had a panel of like 6 or 8 people, and each of them, you was taking turns with each of them and talking about different things. I'm like, look at him over here. Okay, I see you. Okay. So I'm like, who else better to talk to but my friend here, gonna tell us how to make LinkedIn work for us. Okay,
Yeah,
in a
thank you.
crowded world.
It is indeed crowded, Margaret. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So first of all, I started writing. So I'm on LinkedIn maybe for 18 years, quite a bit. I think 2008 I started. But as you all know, back then we all connected and didn't know what to do with that. And I started to put out content. Interesting enough, I worked for 16 years at one company called HB. I had an international role. I built my network internationally up to maybe 1,000 contacts. I talk about 2015 maybe. But then I faced a layoff. And the first time I ever posted a piece of content while walking through New Zealand was when HB announced whatever type of phone. And it was just a week out of our garden leave. So not paid anymore, not nothing anymore. And the first piece of content I wrote about the company who just get rid of me. That was quite interesting. But needed to find my voice. And then 2018, already 2 years in Sydney, I decided, good, I know LinkedIn pretty well. I had coaching programs as well with an executive coach who taught me more. I observed what people are doing. I observed especially one, not mentor or guru, but one person I very much admire, Tony Hughes. He has about 300,000 followers and has been the most read sales professional on LinkedIn back then in 2017. Most humble person, above 100,000 contacts you can imagine. And therefore, it got my interest because when you move to a new country, as in my case, but would work for anyone, then the mindset of I need to build a network is higher than when you are in your day to day. So I thought I need to do that. And best way for me to do is not only to change my location in LinkedIn or add more people relevant, but also to work with content. That's the best way to that you are seen and that you're known for your positioning for whatever you're doing. I started to write a series of 6 posts, one per week. I called it Social Selling Monday. Social selling is a term coined about 10, 12 years ago about how to use LinkedIn not to sell, but at least to be more visible. And that started for 6 weeks. I only forgot to stop. And this week I had episode 392. So for 392 weeks, which is 7.5 years, I'm writing every single week without fail about anything regarding social selling. Can be LinkedIn, can be email marketing, can be whatever that fits into the whole topic of visibility, and that would work. And after I had 100, I thought, okay, over the weekend, I can compile all 100 posts, make a book out of it. Easy. No, it's not. A post is written for the moment, but a book is written for longevity. So I need to change it. And once I had 200 of them, I actually have done that. I wrote this book here called Connect and Act. And this writing series of content and visibility and media group and course got me a job at a social media company called Hootsuite. They're from Vancouver. And they were maybe back in the days were the most visible tool to manage social media across all channels. My dream role back in the days for 3 years. I worked there twice with a little break in between. And then I published this book, and it comes with 42 double pages, so something like this. Imagine you want to know something, what type of format you need to write. Every topic is double page. It ends up here with a QR code for further reading and 4 tips. 4 is my lucky number. I know not every culture has the 4, but I love it. A lot of tips like how to invite someone properly and how to be invited. Most don't do that well, and that's all in there with expert voices from others. And that got me on the radar towards self-publishing because I published with proper publishers and now I had to learn the whole thing by myself. That was a
You're
starting
talking
point. I used LinkedIn.
you're talking etiquette, and you have to learn that on each platform. It's different, okay? Because when I first started on Substack and Notes, I stayed at 0 likes for months. I had said something wrong. I like, okay, let me try to figure it out. Okay. So that's the thing I'd be scared about. Okay. I don't care. You got to go out there and do it anyway. Okay. People see that you're trying, at least,
Mm, yeah,
like I
yeah,
said in my thing this morning. Okay. Try it. We might end up with egg on your face. That's okay. Keep trying. Okay, you'll figure it out. And then you got to figure out the cadence. Each platform has its own cadence, okay? And you got to figure all these things out in between your expertise, your knowledge, and your skills, okay? So uh don't give up. Don't give up. That's the whole point. Do not ever give up. All right. Yes, we taking questions. You got any questions? Bring it. This is the
yeah.
time now, right? While it's free. I'm just joking. I'm joking.
Yeah. It's funny. I like the energy that you had.
Thanks.
Can I show you something about LinkedIn?
Absolutely. Whatever you
Let,
got.
let me let me quickly share my screen on that one. Maybe discuss a little bit about that beforehand. So because of something what you mentioned beforehand. So well done and using now your image as well. So I like you have your main image, the profile image over here that shows you in the best form in terms of colors and everything resonates very well with your website. The smiling, but here on the main one here, the main image, this one here, your photo on the right hand side, knowing that the bottom left quarter, so to say, is reserved for the image, and that's different on mobile and on desktop. So that's very well.
Okay.
Um, and also, I like you wrote authority, visibility, and systemic impact. It's a power of 3. I do know that AI also loves 3, but it comes from hundreds of years of writing. So it's not you should not stop writing something in the power of 3 only because ChatGPT does it. So that I like how you combine that. It's very very good. I'm quite insisting on the terms. So this here is called profile. It's not a page. Some people say it's my personal page. Technically, no, because a profile has the image here rounded. Because typically the shape of our head is rounded. But if you
Hmm.
go on our company, that is a page. Technically speaking, it's a page because you see here the logo of your company. And
Right.
a company is typically in a building, and let's say a building is rarely rounded. A building is with corners, like square, rectangular, whatever it is. Therefore, that makes a link. Oh, I should follow you. Therefore, it makes it like more this. Of course, the
Thanks.
background, everything is different. That's 6x1, while here it would be 4x1. And the reason that many solopreneurs who then also on Substack, and they said, okay, maybe you should be on LinkedIn as well, but they ignore what you do. You have a proper company page. Because when it's not there, and there would be maybe like this one here, you see there's only placeholder image because it's
Well, I'm
not fetched
retired.
properly.
I'm
No, I know
retired,
that's
so
fine.
yeah.
It's not about that. I only as an example to show this. When that would be there, then people cannot search for a company. And sometimes
I
you want to
tried.
search for a company. So
I
therefore,
tried to
I say
fix it. I couldn't.
you have done that very well. That you have your company over there. Well done. But that's on the LinkedIn. The most important thing here is that you have this very well, and it shows always the first 60 characters below any comments that you do. So it's something like this would come up, not full,
Hmm.
but this at least. And when this attracts your target audience, then they find, oh yeah, that's me. She writes about me. And that is what you want to have. So if I take, for example, all of your content like posts, take me any of the posts, maybe not a video post, and just see how it looks like when you comment on something. Or maybe here, all your comments. If you comment on someone else um, below, you see here, that's you. And then it says, I have marginalized women stop survival power systems. And I would be now curious what that is. And then I click on who you actually are. And then I realize what it is. Imagine there would be written not below a proper headline, but would be something boring like uh, role at company. Then so what? But you have something that raises curiosity. And that's what all about. That's what I like on it. Yeah, of course. Many good things are coming then from discovery. That when I see that I would resonate with you and I see what you're doing, then I can discover many more people. And that's the beauty of the discovery function on LinkedIn. So that part I like a
Can
lot, and you've done that very well.
Well, thank you. After you pointed some things out, I was so embarrassed. I had to go in there and fix it. Okay.
But
But
you do it. It's all about action. There's so many things we can do, and you've done many amazing things. Also, you list quite a lot what's on there. By the way, I know what I do
yeah.
2 days ago. In 2 days, I need to send congratulations to you for
Well,
your
thank
birthday.
you. Thank you so much. The
One
thing of it
quick,
is what? Go
like a
ahead.
quick one. Here, your LinkedIn profile. Many have the standard name and the cryptic code. That's not good. Imagine someone says, "Hey,
Okay.
in this publication, we want to show you who you are," and then type in your code, your LinkedIn profile URL. It looks ugly. That looks like you're a beginner. You've done that much better. Have your website, a kind of shared office space, and then the birthday. Why would you show the birthday? In my view, for two reasons. As someone who has birthday and had also 2 weeks ago for my book launch, um, it gets attention of some people. That's good. But what is the way what how we can do? When I see that you have birthday in 2 days, which for me is my Sunday. I mean, 24th is for you Sunday as well, but when you have it, in reality, I'm already on Monday. I always say, send congratulations to a birthday from someone, maybe not the closest friend, but someone you engage with. Do it not on the day, because on the day, you have hundreds of them. My
Tell
birthday is
me
2 weeks
about it.
ago, and I still haven't thanked everyone.
Thousands. Okay.
Yeah, so
And I answer each one.
do the congratulation to someone, not on the day. 48 hours
Okay.
max, between 24 and 48,
48.
because then the likelihood to get a bit of your attention is higher. Then they can say, hey, Margaret, hey, happy birthday for you. I hope you had a nice day and everything like this. By the way, what are you up to? And then the likelihood that you respond is higher. It doesn't mean I want to sell you something, but rather to get into a conversation after a while. That's all what it is, conversation, not selling.
Oh, I
Yeah,
wanted to point out too on the address. I have a PO box. I never use anybody have a business. Don't use your home address. Use a PO box.
correct.
Okay, for your
Sim-
safety and security. Okay.
Absolutely. And to be honest, if there is a parcel coming from UPS and the driver doesn't know where to go, the driver wouldn't look into LinkedIn anyway. So that's for sure. But yeah, so well done this one. So as we just saw from Dr. Edith the comment about she never realized that those keywords showed in our comments. Yes, the first part is really there, and that is an important topic because that helps to be curious. If I go to mine, for example, quickly, let me show you. I actually a little tip here that most don't do. What you could
Okay.
do, and it's hard to see at the moment because the URL is not shown. Let me show that. If I would have, um, I can save someone like yours, your um, content and bookmark that. And so if I would type, not in the search bar, but only because I can't see better, in the URL of a browser, I will take your profile link,
Mm-hmm.
linkedin.com/in/ and yours was with iProfessionalCoach. And then I add there recent activity dash all. What that is ending up with any person to see all of this here. And then I can, so when I have bookmarked my top 20 people and I can go through and see what they're doing, then I don't need to rely on the feed. So that's much better. I can store that.
Hmm.
I can bookmark from anyone else. So that's very good. And if I do not know, and I can even go on the link that I currently have for myself, and then I can try to find someone of who I. Let me just simulate. If I take, for example, your profile again. Where are you, Margaret? So you see, I'm doing this live on a little bit on purpose. So if I go I've done it next to it. So I constructed. I take your profile URL, which is linkedin.com/in/iProfessionalCoach, and I just add their recent activity.all slash all. I'll put it in the chat, and then I end up exactly at the same place of all of your activities. And then I can say, what are you actually doing? Did you ever write long format articles? Oh yes, you did. Um, Here, you did something like long format, and I see your videos, and you are very good on video, of course, here with many other people. So that's excellent. I see your post. And this way, if I have a folder in my bookmarks of those people I want to engage with, then I can do it without the need of uh, going through the feed, because the feed is very often not very reliable. So that's the part that I like a lot.
Let me ask you a question while we're here before I forget. Tell us the difference between first, second, and third connections, and what's the best. I always try to
Yeah,
get the first, but go ahead.
I do. So if I would go to someone who is a first grade connection, I go back to yours actually, then I see a little bit more from you. First of all, I can only have 30,000 first grade connections, not more than
Oh,
30,000, even if I have a million followers. And if I say there is one professional who has more followers than inhabitants in her country, actually,
wow.
yeah, but you can only have 30,000 people in as direct connection. So you and I, we have around the 14,000 followers, so that's nice, which for me means about 12,500 connections. So many people follow me, but they're not my first grade connection because either they didn't know how to invite properly, or I missed out on them. But when I look into this one here, onto your contact, as we are first grade connected, I see your email address. If not, most likely not.
Okay.
So that makes a big difference. So if I would say I go to someone who I invited, as this invitation manager, if I go on network, all invitations. So here we have, for example, Lisa. Not sure, Lisa, if you are coming out of this call, but if I would go here as an example, also a nice number of followers, that's good, great. A little bit missing the biggest real estate in the online world. But if I go to contact info, here, there is no email address, but there is a high likelihood if I click on accept, it will appear. I just don't do it at the moment because it's also a kind of privacy. This is the way that she's visible for everyone. But if I then connect it, I might see more. And what do we want? We want to have the email address, right? So every guru always says getting the email address is like the holy grail, as if people only have one email address. I have maybe more, 33 of them. So, but the purpose is here. Also, someone asked, do we use LinkedIn for sales and authority? For me, it is the authority, the visibility that we have, that we share content, that people get who we are, what we do, um, not necessarily to push something like selling. That wouldn't make any sense. Here, for example, I met this gentleman over here, Nick, large Nick Bendel. He's a ghostwriter for business professionals. He writes content as a copywriter for finance and mortgage broking, which is always perceived as a bit boring. and he does it quite well. And also he helps people writing books, but he is a book writer, a ghostwriter for books, like the likes of, remember when Bill Gates or Steve Jobs had books written, but they never wrote, but it was a ghostwriter. And he does it for small business professionals. But in contrary to this, I'm more the book architect. I help with the practical side of making that happen when the people write their book. But still, we don't compete. And Nick has done something fantastic. He came on the idea to meet people in real life for lunch. 500 of them. He's now at 520 or so. And he became then my first person in my series called 42 Coffees. And you can't believe how a series of something is leading into something good. So when you only look for this, I see my series of 42 coffees. This is episode number 99. I bet, did I write 99 somewhere there? I hope I have the number. Here, the 99th episode. I'm about to prepare my episode number 100 for next week. I share what people are doing. And then, of course, the profile of the algorithm shows a different type of people. But that is how you build a network in real life. Or in your case, in Alaska, might be rather you don't have that many people you can meet compared to Sydney. So then you do it online, and you do that because to work against corporate irrelevant images that you often see from companies or AI slop, the best way is to show the human side of it. And then a lot comes from it. To the question, do we sell? Not really, but for example, here, Alaka, I met her. I knew her color is orange, so I picked a cafe with orange background, so I really like that one. And then later, she became a business partner in my corporate role. I supported her launch of a new building. So then it comes partnership both ways. Or here, Therese, she wrote a book called Swap, How to Do Marketing with Nearly Nothing by getting into branded partnerships. Brilliant book. She's now writing a second one. I gave a lot of advice, and then she came to my book launch and has been the master of ceremonies. So there's so many ways how you can build something together. Or here, in this sense, I simply let this into my, showing this ahead, an article that sits on Substack. I can serve Substack out of LinkedIn. And that's something that really works well. So content drives quite a lot. And if you look into a profile like this one, then you can see, of course, here my corporate role, obviously, but also here my book. I need to write the new book then, of course, but then you can toggle through. So those which are premium members, they can have more than one image. You can see the three of them in my case. Yeah, so
I was
that's important topic there.
I was just getting ready to ask you what the benefits of having the premium membership to explain
Um,
that to people.
so for me, the most important section of LinkedIn is the very top here that you can see there's a lot that happens. So this real estate should tell something. And depending on it, I replace this with my new book soon. Thanks for the reminder. So I can do this. The other thing what I can do is here's a button called View My Portfolio. There's 6 ways how that button can actually look like. And from there, I go. Interesting. One moment. I just changed for the book. It goes directly to Amazon. Um, at this moment, I also had it. If I go here, share this instead. This button can have 6 different type of versions. Let me see where that is located. It's here, edit custom button, and that's a premium button. I can say visit my store if I would sell something, visit my website. And when it says visit my website, it is exactly in these letters, because if you look LinkedIn in maybe French or in German or Spanish, it knows what the same thing would be in another language, but it means the same thing. I said here the portfolio. I can also say view my newsletter. Let me change it to here and say book builder. So the typo builder.substack.com. I think should be correct. I say done. So now it says view my newsletter. If you click on that, and it opens this.
Boom.
And hurrah, it's actually even us. That's quite funny. Yeah, that's a live moment. So that's the way out. So premium helps with more images than one. Premium helps with the premium button. And that's an important and as well, you also have the chance to invite others. If I would say, who is here, for example. Can anyone of you please share a LinkedIn profile from any one of you that I don't know yet? So hi, Anthony, good to see you here, but we are already connected. Please, anyone share their LinkedIn profile URL?
I'm looking at your impressions. I'm like, how do I increase my impressions? I got like 20.
Yes. So, oh yeah, here, Dr. Edith, thank you for that one. So if I go, that's very kind. So if I would go here and type it straight in, oh yeah, that's the same. Got it. Dr. Edith is there, but Lisa not there. I wouldn't connect the doc's name for this, but you already accepted. So if I, for example, would not have invited me yet, and I would want to invite you, then let me take a different one. Maybe let me take someone who didn't invite me yet. Another one, please. I want to show the difference from this. But before doing this, let me do one thing. I say accept. But then, as there was no message on it, that often happens, and the first thing what I would do is to quickly write, hi, thanks for inviting me. Just let me go fast to your network on LinkedIn. Thanks to the Substack live session with Margaret today. Yeah, let's stay in touch. And what is your Substack application link? And my typical answer at the bottom, looking forward to engaging with your content.
You know, Gunnar. Oh, sorry. That's
I
why
don't even need the template. I simply write them fast without thinking, but then I pay attention to place two hooks, Substack or Substack Live. I can search for Substack Live and Margaret. So that I have the connection to it. And also, yeah, Substack. And then it goes. And then to get a discussion ongoing, but that's important. Most
you
people
know,
understand. Go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to say one thing before I forget. That's why anytime I'm in the notes, I'm always looking in people's profile, and wherever they're landing, if I look for LinkedIn, I always connect with them on LinkedIn. Okay, if they have a
Yeah.
YouTube, I connect on YouTube. I connect with them on Facebook. I connect with them everywhere they are, just in case. You never know. You never know where a connection may lead.
So look, and then I go here and say, I only search for Substack and Margaret, the two hooks I place, and then look, she's coming up here. And then I also see another lady, Margaret, that's not you, but and then you, of course, when we started talking a year ago. So, and that's the part that I like. LinkedIn is a fantastic search engine, LinkedIn messaging. When I would say something like book launch, who did I talk about book launch? A couple of people, because I simply invited them. Then I can
Wow.
say, it's only those. And
Okay.
didn't we talk about birthday? You see how many birthdays we still need to go and say thank you.
Yeah.
That's always a thing. Message, I call it MEO. Yeah, let me type here. MEO, message engine optimization. That's my way of calling something when we have SEO and so on. But yeah, that's for me, it's an important topic. So that the conversation sits inside. And sometimes I just had it open. Forgot one thing to show. Yeah, there was somewhere had me finally Ritika when I joined here. That, for example, for this one here, Ritika, she is one person I met in New Zealand, and then she joined my launch and was on Substack. And I said, hey, look, I took a freedom to post it on Substack. I mean, we can put people from LinkedIn to a Substack. That's easy possible, and then it goes because Substack does this beautiful video summaries. I didn't have to cut anything, done by itself. And of course, I shared
Wow.
with her. She's not a Substack yet, but I want to bring people over, so we need to know about it. But yeah, back to LinkedIn. There was one thing I wanted to share with you that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and that
Okay.
is this. Where was it? I prepared that. Can you see this? Let me
Yes.
make that larger. So my approach to LinkedIn is like playing Lego. I won my first Lego contest with the age of 6. That was nice, but it was also the last time I've been in a kind of contest. But I really enjoyed that because I built something. So first step, and you look at the bricks, and I got the official license to use Lego bricks in this digital form for the book. So first you complete your profile. So for those who haven't done anything too much, that's the way how to do that. Complete it. It is a kind of longer piece of Lego, so to say, because it's kind of work to do. And then I add the blue one, which is connect. And you think about the timeline, it goes like this way. Normally you build Lego vertical to the top. But in
Right.
mathematics, we show the timeline on a graph always towards the right. And that's what we need here. So the connect part is not as comprehensive as the complete part, but it's longer because it shows you do it long time. And then when you know how to connect with people that you find and how to write, then you add content on top of that, which is the yellow one, and that's always an ongoing thing. And when you have content and only post content, but you don't do anything, then it doesn't lead to anything. So you need to
Hmm.
always add the green one, which is about converting. And converting doesn't mean pitch or sell, but it rather means something like the main thing of social selling to turn a conversation in public, also from public into offline, into
Hmm.
one-on-one, be it direct messaging, email, WhatsApp, phone, coffee, whatever it is. But that's the purpose to get conversations. Social selling is called selling, but a big part of that is marketing because marketing talks to an audience. The content part is you tell everyone about it, and then you turn it back into a self-related conversation like one-on-one. And I've done that part quite a bit. Yeah, I like to see LinkedIn this way. And once you have done your parts, let's say that is a weekly task, and then you add another blue, another yellow, another green, and then maybe after a quarter or after half year, you check, you add another red one just to check if your profile is good or if you want to do something. So
What
that is for me the flow how it's normally going.
What about analytics? Do you recommend it for small business because they do have that that other program because they got Sales Navigator and
Yeah, Sales Navigator is a completely different area that I use it, particularly in the step of connecting, because in Sales Navigator you can search much, much, much better, much more detailed. But Sales Navigator without having a decent profile and content makes less sense. So what you can do in Sales Navigator, you can search unlimited compared to a free profile. Then they would say you have used us too much. And you can search for two things. You can search for accounts, that means organizations, when you want to know someone who does something as a company, regardless who is the person. And the second approach is you can look for people, where you want to have the specialist of something and you do not actually care where they work. So both is valid, and you can save the search and you can save the results. So that you get a notification when there's a change, for example. Um, you can even create an org chart of a company inside of LinkedIn Sales Navigator because it tells you who's at the top, who is middle management, and so on. And normal LinkedIn doesn't do that. Yeah, but and when it comes to analytics, of course, you can always analyze things. Let's say if I do for myself, I can of course look. Let me just try to check and build. Somewhere would be right. Um, give one moment. So if I would show here, can you see here?
yes.
So post impressions and profile views. I'm not so much fussed about the post impressions because I also had viral posts of 150,000 people, but they're not always the right people, and it doesn't always lead to something. So therefore, I'm look into who views the profile, and that to the other question is more the premium question because LinkedIn Premium gives you the last 30 days, let's say something like this here, how many viewed the profile. Um, Premium business gets you further, I think 90 or maybe even 365 days, and Test Navigator also. So then you can see sometimes there's a peak, sometimes not, let's say. Christmas and a New Year, not too much on it. Here was the peak because it was my birthday period and so on, but then got exhausted, haven't done anything over the last week. But you see here, all of those people watch my profile. And this one here, for example, I talked to him on the phone, but I have not been connected with him. Now he connected. Some people don't want to reveal who they are, so that's fine. I'm fine with that one. And it fits into what I'm targeting, advertising and marketing services in Sydney, so that's fine. But some others, look, third degree, 6 hours ago, okay, time to do something. My typical approach of how can you move from a work-related scenario into your weekend? Simply dedicate 1 hour on Friday afternoon, get rid of your operational work, what you have been in, and sit down for half an hour, 1 hour, and check. Okay, what did work on LinkedIn? Who are the people? Then I would say, Megan, nice to be finally connected. So that's good. Or Roland, what have you building these days? He's also writing books. And just to do this, right click, go there. Never go on connect here because then you cannot create a message. But Jamie from Adelaide, he
Mm.
just is for a conference here, and due to him viewing, I need to talk to him. Did he attend a conference in Sydney? Can I meet him? No, can't. Okay, we have a call next week. Just little kind of things that really work. Or I saw that Kashif very often looked at my profile, met him when he moved to Sydney half a year ago. I said, hey, for you, it would be good to come to my book launch. You will really like it. And there's so many people that you need to talk to. Bang, he came. And we had a follow-up meeting. So it always comes from really going through this. And that reminds me, yeah, uh, had so many people there, there, and sometimes they come from very early days, like here, Urs, that was when I've been in Switzerland. Time flies. It's good to see it. See, oh, interesting. Katie saw me. I helped her as well recently. There's always reason. Spend some time on it, but the free version gets you only 5 people. The last 5, there's not enough. So that for me is a really good reason. What do we get from it? Signals. That's what we want. Signals. That we say, interesting. Why the hell somebody would like to view my profile? And I can ask, hey, nice to see you again. That's perfect. Because the profile impressions doesn't tell me too much. Engagement is even better. I can see, let's say, take a longer form, but sometimes content resonates well, not maybe cumulative, but daily. Then you can see there was something here announcing my book will happen, and here that was when it actually did happen. See, there was more
Question.
engagement on it, and that goes
Question.
well. Yeah,
When you post, you say you post daily. Are you posting to your profile or are you posting to your business page?
valid question. So I post to my personal profile because that's where most music plays, and most content that I do is related to this. And sometimes I even take content across platforms. This here, you see how I wrote this, looks kind of funny. That was a Substack note that went
Mm.
extremely well on Substack. Was I wouldn't necessarily call it viral, but at least it got nice engagement on Substack, a lot of engagement and new people coming in. I thought, it would work on LinkedIn as well. And why is it so cool? You see the shape of the coffee mug? It's very special.
Yes.
And that was the last part I wrote in that book, which actually is the welcome part that I wrote. Look how many people here. Look how many comments. 1890 impressions for me is quite good. Wouldn't necessarily
Yeah, I
say
would
that
say
it's
it's
rocket
good.
science, but these days I'm fine with that. So the key thing, what we then do, and here look, Christina also know from Substack, um, there's one key thing on that one. Now I have this 128. Reminds me, I need to, that's Marvi from Philippines, need to connect her with someone. And that's always the thing. You see a photo, yeah, there's something I can do for someone or ask them something. But you see, 128 people. So my job now would be to go through these 128 people when I have a bigger post and say, thank you for liking this. By the way, and what are you up to? Get into conversation. That's the whole thing. That's what we want. And if somebody is then really so kind and comments nicely, then my job
What
would be to
what are you
also comment
using?
back forward.
What do you okay, say for example, I'm on Substack. Okay, I spent most of my time there, and I don't have time to go back to LinkedIn to comment to everybody. So I have like a buffer. Okay, I have buffers where
Ah,
you can just see all the comments at one place. It's easier to keep track. That way you can go back and respond at one time. Too bad I can't add Substack to that, but I'm
do you
just saying.
use, yeah, do you have in Buffer also Substack? I don't think so. Or you
No,
have it?
I'm just saying I can
Exactly.
include everything except for Substack. I can include LinkedIn. I
Exactly.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, that's better. That
I,
way you can just see everything at one time.
I used Buffer in 2017,
Okay.
18, 19, in that period of time because it allowed me to post scheduled at 7:37, not just 7:30. I don't want to do anything on the full hour because it looks like automation. So then the 37 uh, made it that it didn't look like. I really love that. And then I moved to Hootsuite, which is alternative to Buffer, and then I worked there. So didn't look into Buffer anymore. Of course, when you have the tools available, it's cool. But on LinkedIn, I do this mostly natively inside the platform like this, and I don't drive. So then my commute time would be to sit on the ferry. Yeah, that's a part I like. And of course, you would like to comment. Thank you so much. Something like this. Should have done a bit earlier, it's already months ago. But sometimes I was just overwhelmed by so many comments. But yeah, so working on the content that gets us then a good view of those posts. And there's one interesting thing. If you have a post and that is going well, there's an uncommented hack that at least I found and used. So that was after I launched the book. So this one here, Don't Reinvent Down Under, which the most
Right.
personal one even shows me. That's me with the 125-year-old piano. It's already played a bit, but the cake, the books. There was a nice photo from the photographer. Again, another one of these, right? So it's going well. So here's one undocumented trick that not every guru likes. Once I like my post, so I unlike this, and then I like with a different emoji. I think I had love before. Now I do this one. And the algorithm now places this post again somewhere there. I bet it will grow from 29 12 only for this action. And that's really
In-
happening. That really
Interesting.
works.
I notice also
Uh,
every time that I respond to somebody's post, okay, I'll get a few likes or views, okay? So that's why I try to go in and periodically and see somebody's stuff, but mainly LinkedIn is long what you call it? Long something.
yeah,
Long form
yeah.
content, right?
It is, and you can see commenting is an easy thing. We need to always do it. And then when somebody says, like here, she's a publisher, and she helped me to learn this type of galas. So okay, I found another image from back then. So you can really play in the comments and see there's a lot to it. There was one comment here in the chat from a call from Millie. This is all the paid subscriber version. Yeah, I have the paid one. That indeed is true, in which I can see more. But I use it a lot for um, working with content, with commenting on other people. I sometimes more comment on others than I do even on mine. And that's it. Yeah, Billy just mentioned Hootsuite. So the thing on Hootsuite, back in the days, there was a free plan, but they don't have it anymore. So now
Of
more of
course
a
not.
profit to this one. Now, when I've been working there, it was there. And even when you leave the company, you would get a free plan, but they killed it. So then, okay, then just not
Too
anymore.
expensive. It's too
Yeah,
expensive.
I don't use it. It's corporate companies can do a lot on it, and so I saw plenty of them, but for solopreneurs it doesn't do. But for me, getting back into what I shared earlier on here with the Lego bricks, to be active on anywhere on social, if your profile looks decent, then you can do something. So that's always is the first step, and you will change. So my Substack had 3 names over time, and then you connect with the people. You have content that brings people back to you again, and you can convert. Convert doesn't necessarily mean selling, but it can also mean that you um, get into conversation that can lead into something. So that for me is also important thing. When it comes to Substack, of course, it's a question: how do we design it? A half year ago, I went too much in my view. I had too many of these menus there with my books. I write reviews of books of other authors. I've done 42 of those, which is actually interesting because it includes interviews. And I had even high level professionals like Dr. Mehmet Yildiz, who is very big on Medium and also on Substack. And he kindly ran an interview with me for the book. We can do a lot of things about content. Content really makes sense. And I now focus a lot about the practical side of book writing. Let's say the audiobook thing, which takes me ages to write the article, and how to write books, how to publish books. And that's the part that I personally love quite a lot. There's one other thing that also has been asked before, and we talked about it as well. So, as book architect, so my view is to write the book backwards. That doesn't mean you start with the last page or write from right to left line, but rather to build the business beforehand to be clear about the outcome. And as we have Anthony in the call, I had the subject live with him last week, Saturday, if memory serves me well. And then we really went through the topic of this is my next book that's coming, where I really talk about how to get your books out. And where should I talk about it? On Substack, more than on LinkedIn. Really makes sense. Yeah. So this is a little bit about the work I'm doing. And I love being on LinkedIn. And so typically I post 5 times a week, maybe not every day, but I missed Monday this week, for example, happened. But I'm, yeah, at least 4 times, if not 5 times.
Let me ask you
Quite
a
a
question
lot.
about sorry, let me ask you a question about the newsletter because everybody has a newsletter. I'm subscribed to over 700 newsletters on LinkedIn. Anyway, I was thinking that maybe I need to have one too. Okay? And I'm like, okay, well maybe I'll start next one month, one a week, okay?
Mhm.
Because everybody have one and that's another way how to grow your followers on LinkedIn. Is that correct?
Uh, it has something. Yeah, you are right. So, and I give you my example, and that goes like this. So, I created one in when LinkedIn established this. So, this is running since 23, I think. And I took my book reviews that I showed you before on Substack that were on my personal blog before, and I put it into here. The interesting thing is this. So, I have here 3,007 subscribers. LinkedIn doesn't give good analytics. But if somebody joins my network, take Clive for example, she became my first great connection 3 days ago.
Okay.
And automatically, when he only views my profile and clicks on follow, LinkedIn suggests to also follow my newsletter. And he does.
Right.
So whenever
Right.
I write something, it's good. Uh, Out of the first analysis I've done, and there's no tools, so just manually, I thought, okay, you see how many are there in connect or follow? How many second or third grade connection of people? Quite a lot. Here, Lynn, another author I know from my
That's
ecosystem.
a gold
But many,
mine. It's a gold mine.
that's it. That's it. And it doesn't have anything like how to say, no real tools to say, please give me everyone who follows my newsletter who is not my first grade connection. It's not there. It's not there. And I use it here mostly for I call it learn from books. That gives me that gives me the perception that I have something to say regarding books. Particularly, I use it for here it's 48 editions, so it's quite a bit. In the meantime, I found my way how to do the thumbnail images, sometimes about something for myself, how to use LinkedIn as book author, for example. And then before they look different, but at least and sometimes my own books or I meet someone, this type of thing. It's the same
Building
concept I have in
connections.
Medium. Yep, yep,
Building
exactly that.
connections.
And then it's 3,000 people. So I must admit, I need to do more from that. If it's a lot of people, 3,000, I have 14,000 followers. It's 3,000 subscribers. It's maybe not that much, but it's
It's
3,000. I'm very
significant to
grateful.
me.
It is. And look, there's a bit of analytics. It can tell you if I go maybe on a yearly basis, you can see I only post maybe once a month or so. You can see when it happens, boom, 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 it goes up. That's
Hmm.
quite interesting. I don't want to overdo a LinkedIn newsletter because I post quite a lot. So I put it only on one topic. And then you can see what type of locations, for example. I bet it's mostly Australia, but doesn't have to be. Whatever it is. Seniority, who is reading this,
It's good to
new
know.
subscribers. You
Yeah.
get a little bit from there, but it could be better. It's something like, particularly for newsletters, some more, but it's not really there. Look here, the weekly tracker. It demands 3 action. I've done 26. Oops. Yeah, LinkedIn's comes out funny. But yeah, I like it a lot. I use it for also driving
Trends
something
too. We
towards
need.
Substack.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. We need
there's
to know
that,
about the trends because things are constantly changing. The GNP, not the GNP, what you call it, the national product. Maybe I
yeah,
did say it right. So everything impacts that. So we need to know, look at the industries and which ones are impacted and which ones are doing well and which ones are not.
exactly that. But yeah, there's so much in it. And what I like to do is occasionally to write something on LinkedIn that also goes further into Substack. There's one thing I wanted to add, and that is this one. Where was it? I thought I prepared something.
I'll give
Yeah,
you the top stories up there, which is
wait, wait,
good.
wait, wait, wait. I prepared one slide that I showed with Anthony as well on the call. So this here, you see two
Mm,
pyramids. The left pyramid is a buyer's pyramid, and that is out of a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine from an author called Chet Holmes in the US. Unfortunately, he passed away after writing the book. So he figured out with proper scientific research that 3% of people are ready to buy now, not more.
mm,
And the bottom 30%, they know they're not interested. So that leads us with 6, 7% which are open, but maybe not yet. 30% don't think about it yet, and they don't think even they're interested. Think about it like some people might be problem aware, some people might be solution aware, some people might be supplier aware, these type of topics. So then out of this, you don't get the bottom 30% anyway. The 3% here are ready to buy now, might be nice, but it's just 3%. You saw I have 3,000 subscribers on my Substack. So on my
right,
LinkedIn newsletter, it's 3,000. If I
right.
take and only 3% are ready to buy, so that's not that many. If I would create content which tells buy me now, it's only relevant for 3%, but it disappoints all of the others. So you
Mm,
need to be mindful of content and engagement that you figure out which are the people which are the 3% ready to buy now. More in direct messaging, not in posting. Um, but you can attract these with proper nurturing. That's why email marketing exists, that you can make that happen. And on the right hand side, you have the typical marketing funnel, which has, think about anyone who has a service, like $2,000, $3,000, whatever service from a financial planner, for example. Let's take a financial planner who has some kind of program that they run, but the content, if they would only say, buy my $3,000 program, it would not hit because who has the $3,000 ready to pay and waste? Nobody. So
yeah,
then they would
right.
rather find out who is that person? Does the person have the authority? Are they showing what they're talking about? You only need 10 seconds to see on LinkedIn if that is updated, if they have content and so on. Don't need more compared to an old empty profile. On the website, in 3 seconds, you can see if they're in the game or not. So therefore, people rather compare. So what helps is then content like an ebook or something that shows, oh, he has something worth saying. Good. You can type in your email address, you can see and get something so that when you're ready, when you are moving from the 30 to the 7 or further to the 3%, then you see, oh, I got this ebook in the email from this type of person. When they had a book, it's even better because that shows authority. If I'm interested in that of a person, now they have a book, I don't even need to read it, but just by seeing that they have it is good. And some even have courses. Think about our financial planner. If somebody has a little course like um, how to save in tax time, something like a $97 that shows expertise for a certain industry, I'm part of that target audience. I would say, cool, get me the $97. I can do it by myself. And then I realize it's just knowledge, but the work he or she does. So then I buy the program because it shows me, that's how they work. I relate with a person, I'm happy to be their client. But you cannot move directly from top to bottom without some of the steps in the middle on the marketing funnel. So that's how I play these two pyramids back and forth in every of my webinars. Yep.
Sounds
That's
good.
a little bit different.
Don't matter what platform. It just might be a little bit different.
Yeah, that's totally true. But that adopts depending on what the people are doing. Yeah. So that
Oh,
is a bit about LinkedIn, and we can make LinkedIn work for us quite well. In particular, we can use LinkedIn and Substack together in union. So that works. Even for those which are using LinkedIn mostly corporate for their day-to-day job, and Substack more for their side business or full business and passion, they can work together. Yeah, that's
now,
important.
okay, sorry, but when you go live, okay, because we were talking about it, you have Restream and you have Riverside. I have them both too. Not working completely the way it's supposed to, but anyway, that means you can go live, like you can go live on Facebook. You have a platform, I mean, a a page and your profile. Okay, you can also go live on LinkedIn on your page and your profile. But how many do you have to have on your business page in order to go live on your business page? Is it 100?
O- On LinkedIn, I would say so would be good, yes. And what I've done on that point, it's a very valid question. Would I have my LinkedIn live on a page of the profile? Depends on where you have the reach. So show here, I've done that. So here was my LinkedIn live. There's it. So 12 days ago, that was the one.
That's the one I
I've
came to.
you
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I use this one as a LinkedIn Live compared to a LinkedIn event with a Zoom, because the Zoom I need to send the recording to someone, but the LinkedIn Live is a living organism. It's always there, and that's an
Mhm.
advantage. And you see, so I use StreamYard as a platform for this, which is actually pretty good. Um, it happened. The same link and everything sits there. I can do further commenting on that and so on. That's actually pretty good. And then many people comment on it before after. Need to work more the comments. Then people like I didn't invite people long enough for this LinkedIn Live, but it would work. I've done one with Veronica Locker Smith in when was that, in January, and we've done it as a
Mhm.
Zoom instead of other platform, but we had 150 people here. So
Nice.
a LinkedIn event tells you who is interested. Some people only click on it then to forget about it, but at least it gets you a signal of somebody who shows an interest. And that part I like. Yeah. So as a
Yes.
platform or this one, you can see it's a kind of a stage with four speakers that I'm then changing around when I show slides like this one here. It's a slide that's building up with photos on it, whatever it was. Oh, that's a funny one. Um,
Kangaroo.
yeah, exactly. And then with, for example, Ritika and me talking, which was very nice here. That I an expert from the US and so my books, whatever. The platform allows me to play differently, like a master of the stage. How I arrange this? That is StreamYard. It does it exceptionally well. But LinkedIn doesn't have the engine built in like Substack has. Yeah,
I was
that's a
just
bit
going
how we
to
are.
ask you, how do you post that to Substack? So do you take the audio or video and download it to Substack?
Very lazy. I take the link for this whole LinkedIn event and place the link on Substack.
It's all good. Whatever works. Whatever
Yeah, because
works.
otherwise I would need to download the whole video and then upload it to Substack.
Exactly.
Might look nicer. I could technically do it, but yeah, I haven't done that. Yeah,
I was
always a
just
question of
curious.
how much more do you want to do and how to do it the most efficient way. Yeah.
Awesome. Do anybody have any questions about LinkedIn? Let's see. Joe said, I only tune into Substack because I don't have wellness enough to navigate it all. At least I found this. Okay.
Yeah. What else? There were questions about buffer and who should answer that one. Um,
I
Lily
never
couldn't see
use
the video.
Hootsuite. So that's why I'm just gonna stick with Buffer because it works. So
Do that and it
whatever
works for you exactly. So that's
whatever
fine.
works.
And also a question on the paid version of LinkedIn. Yes, I use the create the Sales Navigator version on purpose because that allows me to do more. So that's for sure is clear. To see
There's
who
Margaret's
viewed the
fence.
profile is a lot in it for me because the content raises visibility. I see who likes the content, who comments on the content, so that's good. Impressions, I do not see who they are, so therefore that doesn't really count for me.
And,
But
and you
then
get
I
the in
check the
mail.
viewers. Yeah,
Then you get to
yeah.
also get the in emails too when you have the
Yeah. The
premium.
uh, so to tell you this one, an email is a message that I can send to someone who is not my first grade connection because normally I
Okay.
cannot. But I don't really use email as such. I simply connect with them. But ideally with a personalized message so that they see why I would do it. I always call it no hook, no look. So if I don't put anything good on it, it wouldn't work. And then I get into conversation. So um, how can you chat with someone who's not first grade connection? If you don't want to connect, email is one, but you get only so few per month. Or imagine you are in the same LinkedIn group. And then within a LinkedIn group, you can write to someone else in the same group without the need of being a first grade connection. And if someone wants to talk to me from my own point of view, they can talk and show that one quickly. There's a little golden IN under my profile here because I have premium. I share that there's a little golden IN. This means people can send me a message without the need of being first grade connected and without the need of using an email. That comes with premium that I have that people can write to me despite they are not. Yeah. Hey, oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on always in LinkedIn. Always need to confirm things and so on. Don't do this at the moment. But yeah, there's a lot to it. And I wrote it in my book, Connect and Act. Despite the book is now 3 years old, it's more about the concepts, how to work with LinkedIn. That's written on this one. And then because also we talked about books at the beginning. So that is my habit book that I wrote after realizing that my last name is quite close to this one. And the recent one is this about the story of reinvent yourself, as you mentioned.
And that's the one
Yeah.
that you did the audio for as well. And you're gonna put that in Audible, right?
Yeah, exactly. But Audible is sometimes a tricky thing because when you record something, even in the studio, the decibel level need to be aligned well. So then I found an expert in the US who does this. I didn't want to play with sound engineer tools, and yeah, he's on Fiverr. Cost me $30. He does it for all of them done, and then I can upload it to Audible. So then I can sell it over there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because some people prefer the audio form. Some people prefer the written word. Some people prefer the Kindle version. So then you got satisfy all parties concerned. Why not?
exactly. And there's one thing from the whole book type of topic. I place a link here. And that is this one, reinvent down under. There's one interesting thing what I learned maybe 1, 2 years ago. The tricky thing, if I would share a link of my book on Amazon, then my link here would be amazon.com.au in Australia. But my Kindle library is on the German Amazon because that's where I started. And if I send my LinkedIn Kindle book here in the chat, then you would realize if many of you are in the US, oh, that's the German, so we cannot buy there. We need to then manually type in .com. And there's something what can be done against this, and that is a kind of universal book link. If you click this one, that it goes straight into your own look and feel of Amazon. So most likely this link that I just posted there, reinvent.com/Amazon, goes to the American one for you. For my mom, it goes to the German Amazon. For my friend, an Italian and French one, or here an Australian one. Really love that. That makes it a bit more easy. And I
We'll
totally
have
forgot to take down the introduction price of 99 cents. It's still there.
Well, we'll have to bring you back next month to talk about the books because I have a book
Yeah,
on Amazon that I wrote in 2017, self-published. I did that just to say, put on my LinkedIn profile that I'm an author. Okay,
exactly. Let's do that.
exactly.
But thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate it. It was lovely talking to you. We had it in the plan for a while. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for coming. And enjoy the rest of your day or night wherever you are. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. We'll be in touch. All right. Bye bye.